This is power. Manchester United women take on Everton women Sunday the 27th of March here at Old Trafford, 12:30.
Good evening and welcome to All for United WFC. I'm here with Benny today, doing a bit of location stuff. Big game Sunday. We're here at Theatre of Dreams. Right there. So we have big game against Everton, Benny, with a crowd. So what are you thinking?
It could be absolutely amazing, mate. Right, fair enough, it's not going to be full house, we wasn't going to ever expect that to be full house, but hopefully we'll still get a decent size, chuckable size of crowd in, people coming for the first time, people taking the kids and people taking the families for the very first time. Some of them are going to see the stadium for the very, very first time. It's going to start off hoping many special memories following the women's side, not only following the men's side, if they get into that football, if this match gets them into football, but more importantly, follow the women's side.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we're talking sort of, Old Trafford, and I think it's important to mention that we've got, players that come through the academy. We've got the likes of, Katie Zellum, we've got the likes of Ella Toon, Millie Turner, Kirsty Hanson, people like that. I think for me, that's going to be sort of really, really special for them. I think it's quite ironic because this time last year we played, here on the exact same date. That's better. The exact same date, and 27th of March. And I think this time with a crowd, that's going to make a difference, and especially as a homegrown player, so much history within this stadium. We were obviously talking earlier off camera, weren't we, about the potential for a new stadium, which we're not going to get into now. But obviously, what do you think it'll mean? Obviously, your favourite player is Kirsty Hanson. I obviously know Tooney from being a kid, but what do you reckon to that?
I think that, it has an aura about this place too, it doesn't matter how old the stadium is. I know it's 112 odd years old now. We're coming up to the original structure now. It's still the only original part of the stadium, some Bobby Charlton stand. Which is the oldest part of the stadium, obviously being the original structure. But I just think it always evokes special memories. It always evokes special, you always get nostalgia coming out. That's what I've said to you just a minute or two ago. It's nostalgia. Because this place has an aura about it still. Yes, it's looking a bit shabby in places. Yes, it could probably need to renovate and everything. Yeah. But when you look at it, and this is why I always say, we're in two minds. One minute we want, one minute I'm dead against a total new stadium. Next minute I'm not. When you come here, I'm totally against it again because the history of this place has characters, aura.
I mean, and speaking of history,
the old stadiums, sort of the new build stadiums, which have absolutely no character whatsoever, they're all the same kind of kit sets, aren't they? In a way.
Yeah.
So we're going about players there like Tooney and like Hanson. But yes, they played here with no crowd last season due to COVID and everything. But let's be honest, when it's 20, 30k, whatever we may get here, it's even more special for them. Seeing fans, hearing their names being sung inside this famous ground. And also, as well, I believe we've got flags going up as well, player flags going up.
Right, okay.
Hopefully, we should, I don't know because the logistics of it, how many can go up, but hopefully we get as many up as possible, and hopefully some of these players, these homegrown players especially, can see their flags hung proudly at the Theatre of Dreams.
Yeah, and just on a Munich tunnel sort of tour here, just bits of history on the wall, which I will video. Go down there. Around. So there's obviously lots of stuff on the wall as well. See there as well for people that have not seen this. Quite an iconic tunnel.
Yeah, it used to be called the Munich Tunnel, but obviously it got renamed to Sir Bobby Charlton stand. But the old South stand. This is obviously always going to be the Munich Tunnel, but some people now know it's Sir Bobby Charlton or South, as they always call it. But it's quite unique.
So I've got the the memorial. Yeah, I think again it's just linking back to what we said before about history. Like I said, obviously I mentioned the players before in the academy, and I think it's it's massively special to them. Obviously, it's special to everybody, but I just think like if you're a homegrown player, you've got fans in there this time. Last year, I remember Millie Turner walking out and waving to nobody. So I think again, just really, really special. And I think it's going to be absolutely a fantastic occasion, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth later. But yeah, so that was the Munich Tunnel, guys, just to show you that. So yeah, we'll cut off here, and then we'll reconvene at the next bit.
Obviously, Benny, we talked about earlier about the game, and we were sort of saying, big game, and really looking forward to it. I want to just go into some sort of stats, and I want to look into sort of the form. Now, obviously, our last 5 results in all competitions, we got a draw at West Ham, we got 2 wins and 2 losses. Similarly, you've got Everton as well, who have lost to Chelsea. We then won 3 games and they've lost 1. So the last 5 competitions have the last 5 results have probably done better than us in all competitions. What do you make of their form? Because obviously there was a lot of talk, wasn't there, from summer about, Everton are going to be Champions League, Everton spent a lot of money, Everton are going to be challenging for cups, but here they are out of the cups and fighting off relegation.
Yeah, it's been a weird off-season for Everton, hasn't it? As you said, they spent quite a decent chunk of money in the summer. But as always in football, when you spend a decent chunk of money, it doesn't always guarantee you success. You need to obviously be putting in the right players at the right time. That's suits your football club, basically. The right players that you think can bond with your current players as quickly as possible. Yeah. It just hasn't happened for them this season. But over the last few games, as you pointed out there, for their form looks, barring 2 losses, their form they're coming on for some pretty decent form.
Yeah.
Whether that's now, obviously we're under new management as well now, whether it's just something all of a sudden just clicked for them. Sometimes football's a funny old game, and then it takes a while to click, and all of a sudden you see teams that are fighting off relegation, like you said, for Everton. It just comes for them, and it clicks for them. I suppose at the right time for them as well. They've still got enough games for them to turn it around to get out of that relegation dogfight. To secure enough points to stay in the league. So I'm hoping, that doesn't come back to bite us in the backside on Sunday, because last thing you want is a side that's fighting off relegation coming here with that fight and with that belief that they can get out of the relegation places and pick up some points here, because they're going to be on a high themselves. As you said, was it 3 wins, 2 losses there? That's 3 wins there. For them, which is huge. If they come here at Old Trafford, and they want to upset the apple cart. This game is just big for them as it is for us in a way. They're playing the theatre of dreams. Yeah. It could be the only times when these players could play at the stadium. There's this beautiful, wonderful, magnificent arena. So it's going to be big for them as well as our players. And it also depends on who or which teams or which collective players handle the big occasion the best, because it is a big pitch as well. But I think it's one of the biggest in the league. So in the men's league, the Premier League. So the pitch is going to play a huge role in that. But listen, I think we need to be really on our guards. West Ham caused problems in the second half of the last midweek. We've got to make sure that we're on our guard as well, defending properly. I know that we've got a few issues with centre half at the minute. However, I think Kings did very, very well in the last game. So for us, but we've got to make sure that we go in there with the belief that we can win. And make sure that we go about our performance our way, not play their football. Because once they get us down like West Ham did in the second half, midweek, they've got us playing their sort of football. They were quite direct, quite route one. Getting their free kicks and knocking it in the box. Which was their strength, because they knew that we had issues at centre half, and they played on that by continuously going in the route one and knocking balls into the box as soon as they could. And it paid off for them in the end. They got a last minute a last minute point there, you know, if you like. So long as we go out, we go in there, conduct ourselves with the right sort of attitude, and make sure we go out for the win and go for the kill. Don't be settling for 1-0 against these. These are fighting for their lives, you know. So we need to make sure we're getting that at least a 2-goal pushing.
Yeah,
you know, for me.
I think it's interesting because you talked a lot there about sort of, you know, it being a big occasion, and I think one thing that, you know, both teams, for me, not just Everton, but I think you look at, I mean, obviously we're just here, we're parked a little bit there, we're right in front of the Sir Alex Ferguson stand. I just think for me, like, you know, if both teams don't play the occasion, or even if we don't play the occasion, not if both teams, if we don't play to the occasion, and obviously we've played here before, now it's going to be different. We talked earlier in the show about the crowd, but I think we stand a good chance. I really do. You know, get used to the performance, get used to the pitch, get used to the fans in there. You know, we're used to noise anyway. However, what we've not played in
this is
10, 12,
20 odd K,
yeah,
you know,
15,
by
20K. Yeah.
some of the projections that I've been told, you know, it's a big stadium. Some people come for the very, very first time. And some players also played it for the very, very first time.
True.
It is, obviously you want them to enjoy it. You know, as I said, might be some players want to have the time of playing it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Want to have a chance for either side. You want to come here, you want to enjoy yourself, but also you don't want to let the like I said, the occasion overwhelm them in a way, you know, because it is a big stadium, it has a lot of history behind it, and it does pick up. Conscious of what people say, do make a bit of noise in May. It's going to pick up. It's going to reverberate round. So hopefully, you know, looking at the side just there, but you know, yeah, I just hope that, like you said, we don't play the occasion. Just play our game.
I think it's interesting because obviously we were talking about Everton beforehand, and I think one thing obviously we did say, we talked about, you know, them fighting for their lives and them stepping it up. But I think for me, you know, you talked earlier in the show, you talked about that togetherness and that sort of being used to playing with each other on the pitch. And I think if there's one thing I'd say this year, we've got some very good individuals, but they're not quite sort of clicking as a team. And I think if you look like, you know, for example, and I know we're going to get to danger players later, but there's players in there where you could easily say, you know, Hannah Bennison, for example, Kenza Darley, you know, good individuals, but collectively, it's been mismatched. And I know Willie Kirk, obviously, we had him on the show yesterday, and, you know, he obviously spent a lot of money in the summer, and they spent a lot of money on Valerie Govan, who, by the way, I don't think I've seen or heard of this season. She's not done much. I think the pressure's more on them. Obviously, we're at home, and we've got, you know, this charge for Europe, and we're trying to get the Champions League. But I just feel for me, like, you know, like you said, if we can get used to that 20K, however many's going to be there, crowd, we stand a good chance. I want to obviously sort of talk on the next part of the show. I want to sort of look at, you know, I've got some more stats. No, head-to-head against Everton, it's always been good. Well, I say it's always been good. You know, we mainly come out with wins, don't we? And I've been having a look, and there's been a lot of 2-0 games. Now, Conti Cup, just before Christmas in December, we beat them 2-0. We had the 1-1 draw, which we'll refer to, we'll start there actually in the WSL. We beat them 2-0 in the WSL twice last year, and then we lost in the Conti Cup. Now, what I want to ask you is obviously that game at Walton Hall Park, where we drew in the league, a lot of us said, you know, that's going to cost us, and we're still sort of feeling the effects of that now. What do you think has been the learning points from them? Because obviously we had so many chances. We tested their keeper. Mary Earps pulled off 2 decent saves, fair play. But I just feel like this season we've progressed, but we still lack that clinical edge. What did you make of that game sort of at Walton Hall Park?
Well, to be fair, mate, I think it's been a game indicative of our season, really, hasn't it, really? You know, when we drop points against teams, we shouldn't be dropping points against, you know, largely from winning positions. Well, we've won it up. We're not cleaning out the game, you know. And I think it goes back to the start of the season where we was always on about being clinical in front goal, taking your chances. And unfortunately, certainly at the beginning of the season, we weren't taking our chances as much. We're a team with fantastic creating chances, but you know, sometimes we're guilty of not taking them chances and not taking really easy chances as well. Sometimes we score a difficult goal to go, like, say, for example, 1-0, but we're not putting the easier chances away to put ourselves ahead 2-3-0, you know.
Yeah.
So as I said, the one thing is, though, when you come up against the likes of West Hams and the Evertons, that are, especially in playing here, You know, like I come back to it again playing here. Everton don't want to get mauled. They don't want to get embarrassed. They will come out here and they will do exactly what they did, and they won't all part. You know, they're going to make it difficult for us. We might get a ton of opportunities. But we need to make sure we take them. We'll be clinical. We need our forward line firing, and I don't just mean Russo, and I don't just mean Dalton. It's whoever's in that forward line. You can put Tooney in there as well as breaking in. Put Jackie in there, depending on how deep she's going to be playing. However, you know, she still gets forward. There's still going to be an opportunity there for her to shoot. We should make sure that, I wouldn't say almost shoot on sight, but make sure that we're clever in our shooting. And make sure we're at least testing the goalkeeper. Because I'm not 100% convinced on their keeper. I'm really not. If I remember from Walton Hall Park, obviously my memory's a bit hazy these days sometimes as the months go on. But, you know, I just think if we can test her a little bit, especially in the first 5 to 10 minutes, can we test the keeper? Can we ask questions of their backline? So when you've got a backline with Gabby George in it, I don't respect Gabby George, by the way, but we should be absolutely pummeling them. Absolutely pummeling them. But again, it comes back to this, to the point we went on before. They're fighting for their lives. That, you know, they don't want to get relegated. They want to stay in the top league. With the possibility of Liverpool being backed up as well, you know. That's, you know, a local dive for them. They don't want to be laughed at by their neighbours. You know, so they could be fighting for their lives here. I just think we need to make sure that we've learnt our lessons, especially when I go back again to the West Ham game. Again, points dropped against teams we shouldn't really be dropping points against. And it is disappointing. You know, the weather conditions were dreadful that day. You know, I'll grant you that. But we should have enough. We should have enough there to, you know, even with the makeshift centre half, Katie Zellerman didn't play as again fantastically well. It's West Ham. You know, we have enough in the forward lines, you know, to really go on. And we didn't test West Ham's keeper enough either, so we need to make sure that we again play our game and not play theirs and not play the occasion either, like you said.
Absolutely. Okay, so Ben, obviously I mentioned before that I had some stats and we're sort of analysing Everton, weren't we? Now, obviously, top scorer, Alessia Russo, 7 goals in the WSL, 3 assists. Just talk to me a little bit about her, because a lot of people, when she came in last year, were sort of maybe unsure. I hadn't seen much of her. This year, she's on form, not only for club, but I think for country as well. And I think she's probably now going to be the leading number 9 for me going into the Euros. But in terms of Man United, what are you expecting from Alessia? You know, like I said, she's been very, very good this year. She's obviously going to cause Everton an amount of problems. But talk to me a little bit on Russo.
I think, to be fair, mate, I think, as you said, a little bit of the unknown quantity from my point of view as well. As I said on previous shows, I'm not the most knowledgeable in this football, but obviously that's why I always ask you. And when you came back with glowing reports, mate, I was like, there's a player that you know, let's give her a go. Let's see what she's all about.
Yeah.
Conscious of beliefs of some so-called media reporters, mate, and who don't think she's a number 9 and her movement's not good enough, mate. I think her movement is top notch, absolutely top quality. You know, I think it's a different type of movement to what we had from before in previous seasons. No disrespect to Jess Sigsworth, but I don't disrespect to Jane Ross. This is proper elite movement at the top. She moves players about. She asks questions in the centre halves. She's pulling centre halves apart. Yes, I know she's been out of the wing quite a bit as well. However, I'd love to see it on Sunday. Just play her as a number 9. Just honestly, use her as a target. She's a target player as well. Something you don't really associate with women's football much. I don't think, from what I've seen, a proper target striker. You know, someone that can play with the back to goal. You know, linking up play, controlling the ball, bringing it down effortlessly at times. You know, even the players around her. You know, some players get a bit of a panic, or some players are not strong enough. But Leslie's absolutely strong.
That was the bit I was going to go into, sort of the strength. I think the way she brings players into the game, and I think you saw it, you know, when we played Reading, the way you saw it, she was in our own half. She beats 2 players with ease, and that ball threaded through to Leah Goldman. Like you said, I think the fact that we've got somebody that's different to what we've had, like you said, different to Ross, different to Sigsworth, you know, I think I
different to Thomas as well. Thomas is another different type of striker. But for me, you know, Russo reminds me of an old-fashioned type English centre forward, if that makes any sense. You know, really, really well built. You know, really strong. You know, can head the ball as well. Her heading's impressed me at times as well. We've got her knocked it long, and she's always getting a winner in the air, especially when she's been out on the wing. That's something that's really, really impressed me. Her aerial ability. Can we now look for her in the box now? Get her get her first time, because if we are going to play Russo up top, or depending on how Mark sees it, can we get that ball in first time? Can we get it early in there? Can we get her up ahead on the ball? So I think that if we can do that, I don't think there's many defenders that are going to stop it aerially. I think, and also as well, she's no slouch. She's quite quick. When you look at someone like Leslie, you think, yeah, she's big, she's powerful. If she got the speed, she has got that speed. Which really surprised me was the speed. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to be a bit pacey, but not as pacey as I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I think from my point of view, obviously, we are sort of chatting about Everton and previewing Everton. I want to touch on Anna Anvegard, Swedish player, came in, obviously, scored 4 goals. She's their top scorer, 4 goals, 1 assist. Now, being honest, I've been sort of surprised with her form. I think if all the players they signed in the summer, for me, Hannah Bennison was the one where you looked at and you thought, okay, very, very good player. Kenza Darley as well. But I think Anna's quietly gone under the radar. I'm hoping that Everton fans would agree. But again, I think for me, we're talking about key threats. Obviously, Anna's one of them. Hannah Bennison's another. Kenza Darley. Izzy Christensen. I think we talk a lot, don't we, about midfield. And we seem to say weekly midfield's going to be where we win and lose the game. But I think what we didn't do at Walton Hall Park was we didn't control that midfield. And it's going to be very interesting. We're going to our starting lineup shortly. Whether Martha Thomas does go on the wing where she's been, or whether we sort of maybe play handsome for pace and power, and especially as well on a bigger pitch. So there's lots to take forward. But I want to go on to another person we mentioned earlier in the show, Ella Toone. Now, I've got a lot of time for Tooney, as I'm sure a lot of people know. But again, I think last year she was very, very good. This year she's been sensational, and 7 assists. Like, she's not gone from just scoring goals now. She's added assists to a game. Again, key player for us, key player for England. What more could she do? But that sounds like I'm digging her out. So I'm going to say, in terms of keeping it consistent, what else do you think is to come from Tooney? Obviously,
just keep on doing what she's doing. Just keep on believing, keep on playing. For me, I'm not trying to look too far ahead, but for the Euros, I think she's the key. I think she's going to be a good key player for the Euros. I really do. I honestly do. And that's not being Man United biased or anything. I just think that there's something in Tooney. There's something special about Tooney as well. When you see players like Paul Gascoigne and Wayne Rooney for the men's side, when you've seen someone special. When you've seen there's a player that you build a team around. And I think that's exactly what the Lionesses in England have with Tooney. And I think that's also what we have with Tooney as in terms of Manchester United. So I just keep on doing what she's doing. Keep on believing. Don't overcomplicate your game. Just keep it nice and simple like you have done. I know some people have been moaning she's not been scoring very many goals this season, but as you said, she's added assists. To those goals. It's she's not an out-and-out centre forward. You can't expect to score every game. However, what a player! What a player! She's the for people that have never watched her before, that maybe come for the very first time. She's one of those players that will get you off the edge of your seat, get you standing up, get goosebumps on the back of your neck, making your hairs on the back of your neck stand up. If you're like me, you're a bit of a hairy bubbit. But she's just one of those that just entertains. She's an entertainer. She plays football to entertain. She plays football because she loves the game of football. And it's very, very refreshing this day and age to see that someone's playing the game for the love of the game.
I think, and obviously looking at stats, it's coming up to obviously playing Everton, and we're talking stats and analysing the game, doing a bit of a different sort of show for you today. The highest percentage of our goals, Bennett, have actually come between 45 and 60 minutes, which is interesting for me. 25%, which is our second highest, have come between 60 and 75 minutes. So looking at that, it seems that we're sort of, I don't want to say clinical, but we're more effective 45 to 60 minutes. And then as the game wears on, the second highest, 19.4%, was sort of 60, 75 minutes. I mean, it's easy to read into stats, isn't it? But are you reading much into that? Are you thinking, well, actually, big pitch, that mark, sort of after half time, anywhere between 45 and 65 minutes is probably key because they're going to be knackered, Everton, surely.
Some people have criticised us being second half FC, but them stats, I'm not one to read too much into stats, you know what I'm saying? But, however, those stats tell you something key. We're strong in the second half. So if we are down by a goal to nil, you know, at half time, or whatever it may be, or join the game 1-1, at least we know the key times and the key for our success this season, if you will, it's been a strong second half performance. So it is good that way. Yes, if we want it to be in a perfect world, we want a good 90.
Yeah,
we want to maybe spread that out, maybe a little bit more equal to, you know, having more goals going in the first half, so we're not putting out that sort of pressure on us. But what it does say is that we've got the will and we've got the fight there. You know, maybe towards the back end of Casey Stoney's time, maybe that was lost a little bit. You know, that will, that fight, that belief to go on and get a goal, to go on and get a win, to go and rescue game, get a point out of the game. But it also shows you that our fitness levels as well. We were on about Old Trafford and the pitch just a minute ago. It's a big pitch out there, but at least we know we've got the physical levels there to get ourselves up and down that pitch, you know, and hopefully to keep driving on in the second half, because it is going to be energy sapping for them. You know, they don't play on a pitch that size very often, apart from when obviously they're playing internationals and or teams that play bigly in the men's stadium. So, you know,
I think because we keep the ball so well, I think that's going to be obviously key. And you know, what I'll do is I think we'll do the teams first, and then I'll come up with we'll do score predictions and goal scorers. So obviously, I'll put the graphic on screen here now of my team. So I've gone for Mary in goal. I've gone for a back four of what we've got fully fit of Ona Battle right back, Forrest Dottier and Caldwell at centre half, Lundell at left back. I've gone for a 3 in midfield, so my actual formation is a 4-3-1-2, and I'll talk through this in a minute. So the 3 midfield, I've got Jackie Gronin on the right of centre mid, Zellum in the middle, Bolton to the left of it, Tooney playing as the 10 behind Russo and Brune. Now, if we're obviously talking about that, like I say, those of you now can see the graphic, obviously, like I say, I've gone a little bit different in my setup. I think for me, the reason being is that we're talking about using the pitch, and people might say that's a little bit compact, but I think they're there to be got in the pockets. I saw these play Everton against Leicester City a couple of weeks ago. What Leicester did really well was they found the gaps in the pockets of space. So I think for me, it's difficult because obviously that's not our strongest 11 in my view, because obviously we've had the bad news about Manny and Milner-Turner still out. But I don't know, what do you make of that, Benny? Would be anything you change? I just look at it like individually, and I think that's probably as strong as we can get.
I should pick my phone up, because I've got quite similar to you. For the back line anyway, it's quite similar. But I've got for 4-3-1.
Okay, so put the graphic up on screen of Benny's team. So Benny, read out your team. You've gone for 4-4-1. Yeah,
basically, yeah. So I've got for obviously the same back line you've gone for, really. You know, Ona, Caldwell, 4, Blundell, Herbs and goal, obviously.
Yeah.
But I've got Zellum as an assisting role, because I think playing centre half, I think that's maybe taught her a few things as well from West Ham.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what status of Haylan is, so I've just got who I think is going to be fit at this time.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've got Zellum in now. I've got Bo Reese as well. Right. Okay. Just to back Zellum up a little bit, you know, just for that little bit more of a. Because I always say I was sent a bit of a soft egg, a soft shell sometimes, you know, just to sort of bolster that up a little bit. And I've got Tooney next to me, obviously. I want Tooney in there. And my front three, I've got Golden, obviously, Russo up top, because that's where I want to see it, like I said earlier. And I've put Hansen out on the right, because the one thing that I think you're going to get from Kirsty Hansen is that work rate of up and down, and the physicality as well.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to be quite fresh as well. She's not had a lot of football at the minute. You know, she's been coming home for the odd 5-10 minutes here and there. At West Ham, she's got the last couple of minutes, if that.
Yeah.
You know, so there's players coming in there, nice and fresh there for us. I think this is the type of game that will suit Kirsty Hansen down to the ground.
Yeah. it's interesting because obviously you mentioned there about being fully fit, and I think we talk a lot about Hayley Ladd, so I'm not going to go into huge detail, but her missing, Staniforth missing, Millie Turner missing, obviously Ethan Manning, and we spoke to him on our show how sort of much of a miss she is, but it's one of them, isn't it? We go with what we've got, and I still think we have, for me, a good chance easily of winning. I want to go back to the homegrown players, because we talked at the start of the show, sort of reeled them off a little bit and said how excited they'd be. I'll let you talk about Hanson then. Obviously came through the academy, fantastic season 1, really, really good. One of the key players in getting us promoted from the Championship with the goals and assists. Last year as well, and again, this year, she's also in the last couple of years earned a recall to the Scottish national team. But what is it about Kirsty that sort of that you first liked? And I'm throwing this right back to season 1, because listen, we can all say work rate and goals, but I just think for a homegrown player coming back to your club, like you say, she's maybe been unfortunate this year, maybe injuries and things, but what was it that sort of you thought, wow, what a player?
Well, to be fair, we're going to throw it all the way back there. It was
as well.
When the team first was announced, it was coming back as a fully professional outfit. One of my mates actually knows Kirsty Hanson from Doncaster Belly days.
Right, okay.
So he messaged me saying there's 2 players there from Donny, and I think he'd be very surprised. Jessica would be one of them.
Yeah.
And he goes, the other one. And he goes, I know what type of player you like, Ben. What you look for in a player was Kirsty Hanson.
Yeah.
So he recommended me to watch her closely. She's got the potential to develop into a really, really good player.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I thought, Kirsty Hanson, I'll keep an eye out. And for the first couple of games, I kept an eye out. I thought I was really genuinely impressed with what he told me about her movement and her physicality. Yes, she's not the finished product. Nobody is, at that age, at that point. And I was, she's still got plenty to work on. She still has now, I'm sure she doesn't begrudge me saying that. But, just something about her as well that got me on the edge of the seat as well. I thought, that's the type of player I like. Someone who likes to attack the ball, someone who likes to go in there, if you remember, especially in the first season, she used to like to shoot from range as well, which I like to see as well. Bring that back a little bit. She has got a terrific shot on her. And I just think, as the season's gone on, she's grown into this United side. I still, all right, we're not privy to what happens in training, but I still don't think you'll find a harder working player on and off the field, whether it be outside the game, whether it be personally in pre-season when somebody be on holiday, she's in gyms, or if she's in holiday, she's still hitting the gyms, hitting the running tracks with personal trainers. She's working on her overall fitness, her overall physicality. She's really, really hard working, and that's what sometimes you don't always have to have the very, very best in the world. The football sometimes maybe comes naturally to them.
Yeah.
You need these hard working players, these industrious players, these players that give everything, blood, sweat, and tears to the team. Yes, I think she's been a little bit unfortunate this season. She's maybe not started as much as she'd like, whether that be through injury or whether it be from form or whether that be through whatever the reason is, But I really do think tomorrow will be the game for her, the right game for her as well, to bring her back into the starting 11. Whether Mark does that or not, that's sort of tied up to him. But when you're playing at Old Trafford as well, you bring somebody back from the academy, I believe she did play, didn't she, the one behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But she'll know what it's like to play for Manchester United. I'm assuming she might have even played on this pitch before when she was a bit younger as well for the academy sides and everything. Sometimes to get a little friendly going on there or something. So you imagine how proud she would be in front of a family. Her mum and dad. I'm hoping her brother will be there as well. I'm assuming he will be. Old Trafford crowd. Her friends being in the crowd as well. How proud she would be being, somebody that's come from the academy, someone that's a homegrown talent. Somebody that's got something to prove as well. For tomorrow as well, to prove to Basket, listen, I know you've left me out for X amount of games, whatever the reason is, I'm back now, and I want to be back in your starting 11, because at the start of the season she was flying, if you remember. I think she picked up a knock, and it's been a bit,
up and down. Yeah, I think on that though, you talked about work rate, and I think that for me, listen, we've always said as fans, we can take people of different abilities, and obviously we've got players at the club that are better than others. But I think what's great about Kirsty, and she is one of many, the work rate is phenomenal. Like you say, the off season, if it's days off, if it's internationals, hitting the gym with the ball. I think for me personally, that right-hand side is still up for grabs. She's been in and out, as we mentioned before. Martha Thomas has been used there. Tooney's been used there. Staniforth's been used there. Russo's been used there. So I think for me, that sort of says that actually, Mark's not 100% on that right-hand side yet. And I think for me, if we can get her right, then, that'll be... If we can get that right, if we can get that right, then I think again she could be back to the Kirsty we know, fully firing. Millie Turner's the next person I want to profile. I think Millie for me, obviously we know her capabilities. She's a leader as well. Millie for me has been a very big miss. Obviously it's been difficult because she's had this sort of archery thing, and I think one thing that she just brings in that back line is calmness. Now obviously again, ex-Everton player, so she'll want to up a game. We talked about friends and family, and it's great that they can be involved sort of in Old Trafford, and obviously we'll get onto Old Trafford sort of in a short while. But Millie Turner, what sort of does she offer that's maybe differs from perhaps the likes of Caldwell and Forrest Otte? Because I'm thinking for me, the first clear thing is obviously Forrest Otte and Caldwell are very, very strong and physical. Now, it's not to say Millie isn't, but I think for me she's a lot more technical. Her passing's better and things like that. But what do you make of Millie from what we've seen of her so far? And again, another homegrown player coming back to the club.
Footballing brain comes to mind.
Yeah,
I know as you said there about Forrest Otte and Caldwell might be the more physical of your centre halves, but she probably reminds me a bit of a Rolls Royce centre half. I don't like comparing players, but Rio Ferdinand, that sort of somebody that reads the game very, very well. Very rarely goes down on the ground either for a tackle.
Yeah.
She reads the game, she tackles. She probably comes off, I think, with the cleanest kit, and that's exactly what Rio used to do. Pride himself coming off with the cleanest kit. He used to, I think, I can't remember what his slogan was, stay on your feet and something else. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. But I just think the way Millie Turner plays, and I think the partnership with Mannion this season has been absolutely key for us, because especially when if you go back to last season, under Casey towards the back end, we were shipping in goals. And maybe Billy did lose a little bit of confidence there. I think the whole team did. Let's be fair. Not just Billy, but so. And every player can have a bad day, can't they? Let's be fair. Not every player can. No matter how good you are, even the very, very best of them on bad days, doesn't quite come off for them. They make a mistake, But as long as we learn from them, and that's the good thing about Millie. I think she's strong, strong-minded. She puts that at the back. If she makes a mistake, puts it at the back of her mind. Doesn't let it affect her performance. Yeah. Head doesn't go down. And I always said, when obviously Alex Greenwood left and people were on about we was all speculating who would be captain. Yeah. And I put Millie Turner forward, and I got shot down for that. I remember that. All over John Millie, because that's exactly the reason. The footballing brain, she brings that calmness. Yeah. I think she brings a lot of communication to that back line as well. I like the way that you always hear Mannion always talking to each other. Yeah. Communicating as centre half, absolutely brilliant. Communication as a centre half with your partner is absolutely key to a strong partnership, and I think we have missed that. Yes, Caldwell's come in; she's done very well, and Forrest Ottier's done well as well. But you just know that with your two, I'd be two first choice centre halves, both out, both missing. It's a big blow, and for Millie, it is again. Nice, she's come from the academy. Yes, she's going to miss out, unfortunately, due to injury at Old Trafford, this weekend. But I'm sure she'll be the first one in the stands. I'm sure she'll be the first one that's vocally shouting encouragement to her teammates, from the stand. I'm sure she'll be in and around the bench anyway, as sort of a cheerleader type, if you will. Like she has obviously seen it on the Sports Village, which is good. It's key that, it's key. And it's a good part of leadership as well, that I think, I'm not 100% sure who's vice captain. Somebody can tell me that. I don't know. But I think I'm sure she's a strong chance.
Yeah, I think they've given it her, and I think Mannion's
doing such a thing in this team.
Yeah, I think Mannion's taken it a few occasions, and Millie has.
Strong leader.
But I think, like you say, off the pitch as well. That's what you want when you're out injured. Some teams, and I'm not saying it's ours, but other teams, they may not turn up when they're injured. Players may not have that sort of bond. But I think that's what's great about ours, is that everybody's fighting each other's corner. And like you say, Millie has an influence from the sidelines. Just before we talk Old Trafford and score predictions, and I want to finally go on to another academy player, Katie Zellum, the captain. Now, being brutally honest, I think it's been an up and down season. Especially at the start, it was quite difficult, sort of pre-December. But I think since the turn of the year, I will give credit here, and I've been sort of quite vocal on her performances, saying, listen, I know what she's capable of. But I think now that she's not playing CDM, I think now that she's pushed higher up, she's done a lot better. And again, we've seen her chipping in with goals, 3 actually directly from a corner, assists as well. Leading us out in front of fans to Old Trafford as an academy player. Again, family will be there and friends. Must be special. But what have you made of sort of the captain, or what do you think she's going to bring to the side on sort of Sunday?
Again, someone has played here before as well, so she'll bring that experience of playing here before. Yes, I know a lot of them have. I think people have pointed out a lot of them have played here from last season. Yeah. But obviously, as a captain, I think she'll bring that calmness as well. One thing that I've never seen. I know people have criticised Katie's out of the captaincy, but one thing I've never seen her is get flustered. Let it get to her, if you know what I mean. Grow frustrated. I've never seen her like that. She's very level-headed, and I think that you're going to need that. You're going to need that for the game on Sunday at Old Trafford. You don't want someone charging around like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah. You
need that sort of, that somebody there that can, read the game and I want to say do what she has been doing the last few games, dictate the game, and I think that suits the game. I think we've been maybe a little bit criminal that we've been playing her far too deep.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to that is we're working out how do we fix our soft centre. We've tried to set them there, but when we're playing her further forward, I do think she brings a lot to the team. But passing, she doesn't seem so rushed in the passing either. I think when she plays a little bit deep, I think she thinks she's got to do everything in a rush, and she sort of maybe overthinks a little bit, overcomplicates things. But when you're playing her further forward in a more natural role, she then becomes a lot calmer, and she starts spraying the ball around like we know that she can. And obviously, she's a threat from corners, as we have seen in a lot of the last few games. Yes, I think people are switching on, putting people on the far post now. However, some of these goalkeepers, as we know, in this game aren't exactly 6'8", 6'7". So
in fact, I don't think any are 6 foot. Maybe I
would still, if I was there, I'd still be trying to ping it under the keeper, under the bar. Get it as fast as you can. Keep on doing what you're doing, and it's working a treat for us. And if we can get, again, I'll go back to get Russo on with some of these crosses as a number 9. You go to, I would tell, if I was Mark and said, or if I was Martin how I would work on it in training, I would say, Lester, you get on your far post and just watch the ball. Just make sure you're ready to go and head it into the far post, because we know Zelem's got a terrific delivery on it. Again, she's come from the academy. It's an absolute honour for her to be Manchester United captain. Irrespective of people that say she should be captain, she should be this, she should be that. We have the same argument with the men's team, Harry Maguire. But at the end of the day, she's the captain of Manchester United. She's been picked, and she's been entrusted by Casey, and then obviously kept on by Mark. There could have been times Mark could have took it off her, and given it to somebody else. But he didn't. He trusts his captain, and that's a good thing as well. Knowing that your manager and your captain are on the same page. At the end of the day, you don't want to be behind the scenes. Your captain and your manager are warring, or there's uncertainty between the two. Because I think that togetherness, like you said again, that togetherness is the key to this Manchester United women's side. It's that togetherness. That's something that's missing in the men's team, I think. That togetherness. These girls are battle for each other. They have each other's backs. They're a close-knit group. And I just think it suits a lot of our players. Listen, Zelem's not going to be world-class. He's not the world-class player, that people want and expect United, but again, another hard-working player. Another player that will always be in and around the squad no matter what. You need these homegrown players. People always keep banging about, they won't be in the team if they're academy. They're only in the team because they're English. Well, forgive me, but we're an English football club that pride ourselves on having academy products come through the ranks. And to have a captain that is part of the academy that's been there, done it, come through the ranks, had to go away, had to go to Liverpool, had to go to Juventus, came back, was in the championship, dropped levels, that speaks volumes of Kate Zelem, and I just think, we always say lashes and fake tan, you know, what does she care about more, lashes and fake tan? But I guarantee she cares about that captaincy. She cares about Manchester United. And, you know, at the end of the day, let's just get behind her. Let's get behind the whole team. You know, I'm sick of this warring. I'm sick of constructive criticism is good, and it is warranted at times. But sometimes I think people go way far too over the top. You know, it affects players mentally. Let's get all behind every single one of them. This coming week is working up towards Sunday, and on match day Sunday, let's get behind everybody. You know, if somebody makes a mistake, no moaning and groaning, no swearing, no getting on people's back. Let's encourage them to keep going, to go again, to keep their heads up. Because as much as we need the players, they need us as well. That Old Trafford is loud and proud on Sunday. 20 odd K, you know. I expect it to be loud. Let's make it a fortress as well. Yeah,
that leads us on nicely, and I'm not going to go into Old Trafford too much because we've talked about it, and John's going to obviously discuss on Friday's show what it means. But I think, like you say, get that atmosphere going. You know, it's going to be great. People that have never been, people that want to, you know, support the women's team, that's never been to the women's team, let alone been to Old Trafford. It's a great opportunity. Tickets are still on sale as well. It's £6 and £3 for children. Now, that's not breaking the bank. You can take your family out to Old Trafford for, you know, under 30 quid or around 30 quid, depending on how big your family is. And I think for me, that's what makes women's football unique. You know, those players, like you say, they are together. The fans are on board. It's got to be unified. It's got to be together. And I think my advice would be, you know, listen, people have perceptions of women's football, and people are allowed an opinion, that's fine. But what bugs me is you cannot have a perception if you've never seen a game, or you're just looking at highlights on YouTube where somebody's made a mistake. I think come down and see it. You know, it's a men's international break. Support your club, and let's, like you say, you know, let's make it noise.
It's also as well Mother is Sunday, so bring your mother down.
Bring your mother down. Well, this is what we're doing.
Dreams.
Yeah. Bring your mum down.
You know, let's go watch a bit of football to get behind.
Absolutely.
You know, if you've got a football mum out there, you know, bring her down, as you said.
But I think
it's quite cheap, and also, even if you've never seen the women's game before, you're bringing your family for the first time.
Yeah.
You're bringing your sons, you're bringing your daughters, you're bringing your nephews, your nieces, or whatever.
Yeah,
just come down and enjoy the day. You know, I think they're putting a sort of a family fun park going on outside the East Stand. I believe it is. If I'm wrong, somebody will correct me in the comments. But you know, at the East Stand there, so they are making it a bit of a family fun day. Come, you know, come and spend, you know, your Sunday afternoon. You know, well, it's early Sunday morning, this Sunday afternoon at Old Trafford. You know, and then you know, come and enjoy it. Come and experience what Old Trafford is like. Because some people have never been to Old Trafford before either. They may have only been to these sports villages. This might be their first time. You know, taking the daughters and the sons or the nieces and nephews, whoever it may be. You know, just come down, enjoy yourself, have a good day out, and come and support the girls.
Come and meet fellow MU women fans. Right, just before we wrap it then, Bennett, I want to get a score prediction and goal scorers from you.
Ooh, that's a good one. Do you know what? I'm going to go in confident. I'm going to go 3-0 United. Okay. And I'm going to go Leicester Roos at the first one.
Yeah.
I think Golden will score. I really do. I think this will be someone who would not mention actually today. Leah Golden too much. I think this is perfect for her. Yeah. Perfect for a big wide pitch and everything. She's going to love it. I think.
Yeah.
Golden, and I'm also going to go 2-0. Okay. I think she's due a goal.
That's Old Trafford.
Place to get a goal.
Old Trafford. Absolutely. Do you know what? You said 3. I'm going to go 4. I think. I think just because I saw them. I suppose capitulate, it's going to be harsh, but against Leicester, listen, they conceded 2. They were lucky it wasn't more. Leicester just weren't clinical. So I think for me, 4-0. I'm going to back 2-0. I'm wanting 2-0, and she's probably won't see this, but I'm hoping her mum will, so they'll pass on the message. If not, I'll have to be having words. 2-0. I want a goal in front of the Stretford end, because that's where I'm sat. Please, if you're doing anything, make sure it's Stretford end, and then I want a nice celebration. So 2-0's going to score. Leslie Russo's going to bag 2. And I'm going to say Leah as well. Obviously, we've not got time to go into Leah. I'm sure that'll be covered throughout the week. But, you know, again, I think somebody that's slowly coming into form now and starting to, you know, really pick up from where she left off. Any final comments, mate?
Yeah, I was going to say before we end it, if I may, everyone's been willing Jackie Grogan to finally score for Man United. What is the bet? She might do it.
Yeah, that's very true.
But it's just popped to me a day when you said about 2-0. Scoring celebrating. I was thinking, do you know what I mean? We've been waiting for quite a while to score a first goal for United. You know, what a better way than Stretford for them.
Yeah.
So that could be a possibility as well. But I think we're all sat in different places, to be fair, though, as well.
We are, yeah.
Because
I don't like
I'm
corners,
hoping
you see.
to swap so that for the wheelchair section, so I should be different, which would be good though, because once we bring you like different various bits of content,
Different content from different areas of
we'll
the ground.
get some decent photos and videos from different various different angles and places around Old Trafford.
Yep.
So
I'm not a fan of sitting in a corner, and I've said this all season. I just struggle with the view, that's why I thought, do you know what? Let's go Stretford end, famous old end. So that's it from us tonight. Thank you very much, Benny. Like I said, it's been something different. Hopefully, we've given you a little preview into sort of around Old Trafford. Obviously, we're not supposed to film too close to it, so we've come a little bit sort of further back. We did do a little sneaky walk around before. Join us again Thursday. John's back. He's got football. I'm not going to give too much away. He's got a football correspondent that does a lot of Man United women coverage. So he's back Thursday. Friday, obviously, Anthony's got his predictions show. We've got plans for him. Saturday evening, me and you, we're across both channels. We're across the men's channel and the women's channel. So, again, look out for that and a build up to the game. Sunday's the big one. It's match day. And as we mentioned before, get your tickets. We will be posting links throughout the week on our Twitter. Lots of videos, lots of stories. We've got loads planned for this. It's going to be a fantastic week. We're really excited. Join us again on Thursday. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.